Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News Sunrise.
In today's top stories, a 14-year-old girl and 2 others are dead after a car crash in Farmington. Neighbors call for more to be done to prevent further tragedy. Plus, the Arkansas Supreme Court reverses a decision denying a DNA testing in a major murder investigation from the 90s. Why justices changed the ruling.
And the temperatures are dropping as the weekend brings in less than ideal weather. The details coming up in your Get Ready weather.
And good Friday morning, everyone. It is the weekend. Welcome to 4029 News Sunrise. I'm Yuna Lee. 4029 meteorologist Melissa Hall is here with Get Ready weather. And Melissa, yesterday was a pretty interesting day. Lots of downpours in some spots. Today, though, hoping no rain in the forecast.
No rain in the forecast, but Yuna, don't put the rain gear up just yet, because we do have those rain chances popping up all over the 7-day forecast. And in fact, our weekend looking a little wet, especially if you live down in the River Valley where that front's closer to you that brought yesterday's strong to severe storms in the River Valley and those just dismal conditions across the area. Well, today we'll have that sunshine returning, but don't look out the window and think it's going to be warm. In fact, it is going to be a very cool weekend with below average temperatures both today, tomorrow, into Sunday before we do see those 70s returning for next week. Part of the factor, well, look at that wind coming in out of the north. Not too bad right now in Potos, 6 miles an hour, but some of us have those winds 10 miles an hour in spots, and look at the temperatures to go along with it. Upper 40s, low 50s, coolest that we're seeing. Rogers, you have gotten to 48 this morning. In the River Valley, you're about 10 degrees warmer than that. We see a lot of those upper 50s. So you not only have the cooler temperatures, but then you have that northeast breeze to factor in as well. And today it will be about 20 miles an hour at times. Right now, 13 miles an hour from Grove down to Fort Smith, with a lot of us just feeling it as you walk out the door. A little calmer for you in the southern part of the River Valley. Those kids might want that extra layer, and they might want to keep it on all day long as they get out to recess at lunchtime, or maybe they have picnic tables at their school they like to go and sit outside and eat lunch at. Well, it's only going to be in the low 60s with that breeze out of the north being breeziest in those mid-morning into early afternoon hours. By the time they're getting off the bus, just into the upper 60s, but fortunately going to be dry. But it doesn't stay dry. Rain chances ramping right back up, and this forecast wants to stay on the active side. I'll break it all down, show you Futurecast here in just a few minutes. First, though, let's take a look at your Get Ready traffic. Finally, Friday, we made it to the end of the work week, and we are waking up and walking out the door to a very quiet start on the roadways as we look down in the River Valley and Fort Smith. 30 miles an hour on Grand, 35 on Rogers. You get on to I-540, not seeing any problems for you there either. Moving 65 miles an hour. Not just I-540 are things cruising along easily. You also see that on 40 and 49. And here's a live look there from Grand Avenue. Nice start to the day. But we do have an alert for you this morning. Beginning at 7 this morning over in Bentonville, Southwest A Street between Southwest 10th and 14th Streets, it's going to reopen. This comes after a 2-month construction project for stormwater infrastructure improvements, Yuna.
All right, Melissa, thanks so much. And at 5:32, as a reminder, you can always stay up to date on changing weather, traffic, and conditions with our free 4029 News app. And Iranian state news says the country activated its air defense systems. An Iranian commander warns if Israel keeps threatening to attack Iran's nuclear centers, his country could reconsider its nuclear policies. And new this morning, G7 foreign ministers warned of new sanctions against Iran. They're also urging de-escalation of the conflict. Coming up later on our show, 4029's Washington Bureau breaks down the latest information. Neighbors are reacting to the deaths of 3 people, including a 14-year-old girl in Farmington. 4029's Lillian Hatch joins us live as the community mourns. Lillian.
Yuna, police say that Stephen Kaufman was speeding when he hit an SUV head-on yesterday morning, and he did have a child in the car with him. And family members say that that child was Lorelei Kaufman. Her stepfather says that he met Lorelei when she was 3, and he says that she and her mother both live in Colorado, and they were looking forward to seeing her when she came to visit for the summer. But now it will never happen.
Lorelei was one of the brighter spots that I've ever known. She was really kind to and loved animals. She had a cat that was one of her favorite things in the world. All animals loved her. She was a very truly unique individual. She was her own stamp. You think a lot about stuff like this when you have kids. You're lucky every day that something like this doesn't happen. I think it's a really hard thing to just process all the way. I know that I haven't. And everybody does it their own way. It's still not quite real. I don't know how something like this could be real. Not that it happened.
Family members say that Lorelai would have turned 15 next month on May 19th. And in memory of her love for animals, they said that they plan to donate to cat shelters on that date each year. Reporting live in Farmington, Lillian Hatch, 4029 News.
All right, Lillian, thanks so much. And at 5:35, take a look at this video from the West Fork Fire Department. A rollover crash blocked all northbound lanes of I-49 Thursday morning. Traffic was at a standstill for at least 2 hours. At least one person was airlifted to the hospital. Officials haven't released that person's condition. Wow. A former Crawford County deputy could change his plea this morning. Levi White's jury trial was canceled earlier this week. He was involved in a violent arrest in 2022. We want to warn you, some of this video may be tough to watch. White and another former deputy, Zachary King, were facing up to 10 years in prison for using excessive force during an arrest in Mulberry that made national headlines. King took a plea agreement last week that included him agreeing to never work in law enforcement again. The Arkansas Supreme Court says a judge wrongly denied a request for new genetic testing of crime scene evidence from the killing of 3 boys in 1993. In a 4-3 decision, the court reversed a 2022 ruling that denied the DNA testing request sought by Damian Eccles. He was one of 3 men convicted of the deaths of 3 8-year-old boys who were found brutally killed in a drainage ditch near West Memphis. Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly were released in 2011 under a plea agreement allowing them to maintain their innocence in exchange for 18-year sentences. This morning marks the 29th anniversary since the Oklahoma City bombing. Oklahomans will pause to remember the darkest day in the city's history. 29 years ago, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building was bombed, killing 168 people. And this will be the first year since the COVID pandemic that the ceremony will be held outside at the Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum.
This place was built to push people to remember, to push through the hard memories. I think sometimes we forget that, or people weren't born and they don't really realize how heroic the effort was in the rescue and recovery and in the crime scene investigation, and how important that is that we remember all those people, those who were killed, those who survived, and all those changed forever.
The remembrance ceremony will begin at 8:45 this morning. The jury is now seated for former President Donald Trump's hush money trial. Coming up, the earliest time you could expect opening statements to begin. Plus,
I'm Amy Lou in Washington with the escalating conflict in the Middle East over reports overnight of a possible Israeli strike.
You're watching 4029 News.